I have good news and bad news. The good news is that I bought the RF 15-35. Finally, I've wanted this lens for a long time. The bad news is I don't know if it was worth it. I've been using the 16-35 for years now. It's been a moneymaker. I can't complain. But when you have something, you start looking at what it's missing, the features that it's missing. And obviously, I had my eyes on the RF 15-35 for a while. I just wanted to test these two lenses for myself and see if it was really worth it to buy the RF 15-35 or if I should have stuck with this lens. Keep watching to see my testing and to help you decide if you should upgrade to the RF or just keep your 16-35 Mark II or Mark III. Autofocus. One of the main reasons I switched over to the 15-35. A lot of people don't really talk about this, but to me it's useful, that gradual focus pull setting on the R5, on the R6, on the Canon. I do a lot of video for my clients and I like that gradual pull because I don't want it to focus quickly on different subjects. The 16-35 doesn't do that. So when considering gradual focus pull from the camera, automatic focus pull between the 16-35 and the 15-35, obviously the 15-35 wins. Image quality. You would expect, of course, that the RF 15-35 would have a much better image quality than the 16-35 Mark II, obviously. Mark III, maybe a little bit. I think these lenses were just so well made that it's really hard to tell the difference. So I went out to the park and I took a couple of images, one with the 15-35, one with the 16-35. So let's go back and forth real quick and see if we can spot a difference. If you zoom out, I don't know if you can tell that much of a difference, honestly. So image quality is a draw. Lens stabilization along with the IBIS on the camera, if you're just holding it steady, not moving, then it should be kind of like a tripod. So I did two tests for this. I did a walking test at the park with my assistant. He was filming me walking. Seriously, can you tell a difference between the two? Both have the same settings, and the only difference is that the 15-35 has the stabilization turned on. That was shocking. The stabilization in this lens is made to be held steady, and that's when I saw the difference. I tested this out here in my office, and as you can see, there is a big difference. Now, just ignore the shakes. I guess I had too much coffee that day and I was shaking a little bit, but you can obviously tell that the 15-35 is much better than the 16-35. So the verdict on this one is 15-35 wins. What about price versus value? Huge difference here. The 16-35, if you buy used today, it costs $600. You can look it up on Adorama or KEH. If you look up the 15-35, it's $1,800, more than double. So are you willing to spend that kind of money just for stabilization and for that gradual focus pull? So the final verdict between price and value goes to the 16-35 Mark II. Now let's talk about practical use. There's a few things that I want to mention in this video that are important to me and are probably important to you. Okay, number one, the zoom ring on the 16-35, it's pretty smooth and soft to move. And if you buy a used version, you know it's going to be really smooth, right? The zoom ring on the 15-35 is harder to move. So if you have this on your camera, it's going to be difficult to zoom in and out with one hand. So practical use, that little part goes to the 16-35. What about the focus? If you want to focus manually on the 15-35, very, very easy. This is an electronic focus ring. It's not mechanical. So it's going to take some time to get used to because it doesn't really react the same way as the other lenses, but it is very, very smooth. If you look at the 16-35, it's also very good. So, and it's mechanical. So, you know what? It's a draw between those two. Focus pull is a draw. Zoom, I'm going to say 16-35 is better. One more thing. The third ring on the RF lens. Pretty cool, pretty smooth. You can program any action you want to it, ISO, aperture, whatever, you know about this. I found that I really like to program it with the focus setting change. So when I turn it, I'll change from eye detection to area detection. And that actually makes it really easy, because otherwise you'd have to go into the menu, press Q, find it, and it takes more time. So that's a quality of life improvement. And in this case, the 15 to 35 wins. So after all the testing, my conclusion is that you should not upgrade to the 15 to 35. I know it wins all the challenges, it's a better lens, but I just don't think it's that good or that big of a difference to switch from even the 16 to 35 Mark II to this one. And here's why. There's always workarounds to get the image that you want. Consider the gradual focusing. When I do jobs for my clients, I'm at an event, sometimes whatever lens I'm using, doesn't matter, I'll switch it to manual focus mode because I know I'll have complete control of it. Then the automatic gradual focus pull is not even accounted for in this example. You just switch to manual focus, you're focusing yourself, and you know it's going to be very steady, very gradual focus shift. We have to make some compromises, that's fine. And is it worth it to spend $1,200 just for a gradual focus capability? I don't think so. So I'd rather just keep my 16 to 35 and focus manually with it, you know? Save your money and use it for something else. Another different type of lens, maybe with a really wide aperture, 1.2, get the 50 millimeter. Now, stabilization. There's ways to counteract that if you don't have internal stabilization. And as we saw, even in the walking test, it didn't perform well. So what can you do to stabilize your footage? Well, you can use a tripod, you can use a slider, you can use a gimbal, and problem solved. You don't have to spend $1,200 and you get much better stabilization anyway. So my conclusion, regardless of the verdict of how many points each lens has, and obviously the 15 to 35 is a great lens, but between these two, I say stick with this one. I'm not going to be returning this one because it is a better lens. I already bought it, I'm gonna keep it. So now you know, and I hope that was very helpful. By the way, every week I'm making videos for other content creators that also do many different things like me. I create different kinds of content for my clients. I do video and photography, and I review gear in this channel. I review software programs. I go through my workflows, how to edit real estate photos, how to edit drone footage, and how to actually capture it professionally. So if you want to see more of those videos, please subscribe. I did make another video recently that addresses the overheating in the R6. You might have found a solution for this already, or maybe you don't even have that problem. But for those of us that have the R6, I found the overheating fix. So if your camera is overheating, if you have problems with it, there's a little fan you can get. But I'll leave the video here so you can watch it and decide. At 24 frames per second, 4K, you can record indefinitely. So make sure to watch that video, and I'll see you next time.